Hey everyone, it's Sleepy Reader. I am here because I've been tagged by 64-page special. Go sub him up if you haven't already. One of the greatest geniuses of the entire universe and kind of a dirty old man. So the tag is created by the comic collector, I believe, and it's 25 questions. It's kind of like scoring up how high your score is as how big of a comic book nerd are you. So, of course, it's all in just good fun because there's 50, 100, 1,000 different ways to be a good comic book nerd. But these are some of the ways, I guess. Have you ever nitpicked a book over condition? I haven't nitpicked with a dealer. There have been books where I was about to get it and then I took a closer look at the cover and decided not to because there's certain things I just won't do. Have you ever sniped someone? I'm guessing I'm going to get a no for that. Have you ever sniped someone off of eBay? I wasn't sure what sniped meant, but I kind of got the impression of the meaning from 64-page special, and I've never successfully done that, so I don't think I've done that. No for that. Have you ever paid over $100 for a book or went over your budget? My normal budget would be kind of looking for books $10 or under, but every once in a while I have gone over for certain special things, and most notably this Conan the Barbarian #1, which I bought from Sean, Jean Paul, Ace Peter. I already had a copy in really horrible condition, and this is in very nice condition, so I trusted him, and he was trying to raise some funds, so I bought it from him on eBay. I can't any longer remember how much I paid. It seemed like a good price to me at the time. It was well over $100 though. So let's see. So that's a yes. Have you ever complained about spec flipping? Yes, I have definitely complained about spec flipping. It had nothing to do with this comic. If anyone, people might have been specking over it at some point. Who knows? So yes, I complain a lot about that. Have you ever given or received a comic book as a gift? And yes, I have. Not that one. I've been given a lot of comics as gifts by people on YouTube, by some relatives, other friends. A friend from high school is about to send me 3 boxes of comics. I'm real excited about that. A few of them might have been mine way back when in the 80s, but so he's clearing everything out and he's sending. I said, yeah, just send it all to me. So yes, so I can say yes for that. As an adult, have you ever decorated your home in comic book paraphernalia? I have a lot more in our old house because we had more space there. A bit of a battle with the wife on what the house should look like. We have a guest room, and I had it in this new house, and I had it completely covered in comic book posters and whatnot. And I kind of gave in recently and took those down. But I'm looking for another space to kind of cover in comic book art. I did put some prints that I thought were very tasteful in the kitchen nook, but my wife asked me to take those down, which kind of nixed my plans of filling the stairwell with comic book art prints also. So a yes to that. Number 7, have you ever skipped work to read or buy comics? I haven't really done that, although I once had a temporary job way back in around 1989 or so, just for a month or two, where I did sneak in some comics and read them there. But basically, no, I have not done that. I take my jobs pretty seriously, and comics are for when I have free time. Have you ever paid to go to a con? And yes, I have paid to go to quite a number of cons. Don't consider myself a huge con goer, but I certainly think it's worth the money every now and then. Have you ever paid to get an autograph, photo, or sketch? Definitely no to the autographs and photos. I'm not even totally comfortable with getting autographs for free. I don't think I'd ever pay for them. I have never paid to get a photo or even asked to take a photo with anybody. But I have paid for a few con sketches. My favorite one is by Matt Lesminski. Kind of still very indie comic book artist, but extremely talented. I asked him to draw me a space barbarian being attacked by a space monster, and this is what he came up with. I like it quite a lot. You can look for his comic, The Freak. It's still out there. What's the name of the company that did it? Anyway, it's still out there on select comic book bookstore shelves. Have you ever bought multiple copies of a book? I don't have them right here, but I have bought multiple copies of many a book. And then I have also bought multiple versions. Usually the things that I buy are like certain old Jack Kirby, Commandy comics I have multiples of, 2001. A lot of Spirit stuff, like with the Warren Spirits I have multiples of. And like with Spirit, I may have, in a few cases, the original newspaper and the Warren Comics reprint and a DC reprint and something in a artist edition. There might be a few stories that I have, so many multiple versions of. Have you ever complained? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. So yes to multiple copies, but then have you ever bought multiple covers of a book? I have never intentionally bought multiple covers of a book. I have twice rebought a book thinking it was a new issue, but it was actually some variant cover. Have you ever complained you need to downsize your collection, need space? Definitely. My collection is up to about 10,000 comics now, and I've been complaining a lot that I want to cut it in half down to 5,000 or so. So that's a yes there. Have you ever sent a book in for grading? I have never done that. I've never thought about doing that. I've never bought a graded book. If someone gave me a graded book, I would crack it out of the slab, I think, unless we're talking a book that's worth $10,000 or more. So grading is not a thing for me. Have you ever sent a book in for cleaning or pressing? No. And most people do cleaning or pressing to get their book higher grade. I couldn't say I would never consider getting a book I really liked cleaned and pressed just so that it would be nice for me. But at the moment, I've never done that. Have you ever chased a store or convention exclusive? No, I never have. I wouldn't even quite know how to chase them. I guess I just haven't even looked into that. But I guess you just go online and pay a lot of money for them. Have you ever traded comics? Not a whole lot since I was a kid. When I was a kid, I did trade comics here and there. So I'm gonna say no on that. I assume it's as an adult. Have you ever stood in line, waited to get tickets, to go to a comic-related movie premiere? No, I'm not that kind of person, and I'm not even that excited about comic book movies anymore. I was until about 10 years ago, but I'm just or maybe 8 years ago. I don't know. At some point, I stopped caring very much. Have you ever gotten into a fight, physical altercation over comics? I did at a comic book store recently, like a few months ago. I had a stack of back issues I'd piled up. It was at my regular shop. I'm very comfortable there. I just piled them up on the counter. And some guy came along and just grabbed them and said, "I want to see what you got." And I didn't know him or anything. And I grabbed the pile. We had a little tug of war over that pile of comics. But I guess I'll say no. I haven't gotten into was that a physical altercation? I don't know. Let's see. Number 18. Have you ever trolled online, gotten into a post-war over comics? One time. It's when I put a comment on a video by Captain Cummings, and I hadn't realized how extreme he and his anti-SJW followers, his after a while called Comicsgate people, but at the time that wasn't a thing yet. I started arguing with him over some points about Marvel Comics and got insulted by someone, insulted them back, and then like 70 different people dogpiled on me in the comments. So imagine a comments thread on a YouTube video that's 70 people long. It was pretty bizarre. But I stayed away from Captain Cummings videos after that. So I'll have to say yes on that troll, although it was basically one time. Have you ever dressed up as an adult as a comic book character? No, I haven't. Sometimes I think maybe I should. When I first discovered the cosplay craze, I thought, how come no one just makes up their own superhero and dresses up as their own superhero? That's what I would do. Have you ever lied about collecting comics? I think I have, but mostly lies of omission. I'll give myself a yes on that. Have you ever flipped or spec'd on a book? No, never. It's just not, it's not in my head to do. It's not, when I go looking at comics, that's not what I'm looking for and what I'm thinking about. Have you ever bought a figure statue of a comic character? All I could find was these dolls of my daughters of DC superhero girls. But I did in the past buy a number of, quote, action figures. And because I kind of thought they were cool and I thought I could play with them with my daughters and my daughter, and they eventually got their legs pulled off or whatnot. So I stopped doing that. So I'll say yes to that, although it's kind of on the edge. Have you ever cried, been angry over reading a comic? I think I've definitely been angry a few times, and I think I've welled up a little bit with tears a few times when characters have died. Particularly, there was an issue of Batman, a silent issue of Batman and Robin by Tomasi and Gleason. I think that was about how Batman felt after Damian Wayne had died. So I'll say yes to that one. And finally, number 25. Do you have a comic-related tattoo? No, actually, I have no tattoos. I have no serious plans to get a tattoo. I've gone so long already without tattoos. I would, if I liked wanted to get tattoos, I suppose a comic book related one would be very likely, but I have to say no to that. So nothing about do you collect books about comic book history, or do you try to find out about comic books in other countries, or do you collect comic book art? But anyway, lots of good questions here, and it's just kind of fun. As I said, there's a ton of different ways to be a legitimate comic book nerd. There's not just any one way. You spend hours searching through the 50-cent bins. That alone makes you a comic book nerd, in my opinion. You don't need much more than that. So you don't need to spend lots of money. So I guess I should tag other people. I mean, if you want to do this, consider yourself tagged. I'll throw out a few tags there of people and don't feel you have to do it if you don't want to. But how about Sam of Sam's Tangled Webs? I tag you. And Earl Grey. How about you, Earl Grey? I tag you. I'll leave a link to the Comic Collector's original video, and you can find all the questions there. And I tag you, Gore Vidal. So, those are the three I officially tag. But anybody out there who wants to do this, go ahead and consider yourself tagged. Let me add up my score. Let's see, how many no's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have a score of 13. Am I a comic book nerd? 13 out of 25. I think that's my score. So a little lower than I thought it would be. But I will still be back. Here's another question. Do you have your own YouTube video channel devoted to nothing but comics? And have you made hundreds, if not thousands of comic... Whoa, there goes that. Steve Ditko, too strong for my stand. Have you made hundreds, if not thousands of hours of videos about comic books? Maybe you're a comic book nerd.